Hey guys, welcome back to We Met at Acme. I'm so excited to be here with the author of Modern Friendship, Anna Goldfarb. Hi.
Hello. Nice to see you.
So good to see you. Love our energy today, our Aries Libra moment. So perfect to be discussing friendship with an Aries, as like my best friend is an Aries and so many of my friends are. So that's just perfect for us. Anna, before we get into anything, what is your favorite romantic gesture?
You know, my husband and I have this thing that we do. We plan mystery dates for one another.
Ooh.
This really helps if you share a calendar.
Uh-huh.
And then it just like on a Tuesday afternoon, it'll pop up like mystery date Friday night. And then I use the little emoji with the magnifying glass. And we take turns picking places to surprise each other to
That's
go
really
to.
cute. I love that. What was the last surprise?
You know, sometimes we do these one-offs, like you'll see a chef collaboration and something special, and I'll be like, oh, I'll get tickets for that. Like it won't even be on his radar. Sometimes it's a new restaurant that just opened that he's been, you know, I did a mystery date for his birthday and I invited his best friend that he hadn't seen in a long time.
So cute.
And that was my big surprise, but I got sick the day of.
Oh, but did he still go?
No, I had to tell him the mystery date. And I had to reschedule it, but I was so excited. It was his birthday and to invite his friends.
It was the thought. It was the thought. It was there.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about friendship today, which is such an important topic. I've done episodes on it before, but I think it was alone. So I'm glad to have you here because I need a friend to talk about friendship.
Makes sense.
Before we kind of go down into all of the nitty gritty of friendship and the nuances, what makes a good friend, in your opinion?
Oh, wow. What makes a good friend? A good friend is someone, you know, in the book, I talk about wholehearted friendship. And the word wholehearted means dedicated, committed, and enthusiastic. And I'm like, I wanted a word to describe the kinds of friendships that I wanted. And it's that wholehearted word. Someone who's dedicated, committed, and enthusiastic.
I like that a lot. Immediately, I'm like, committed to what? Because I'm committed to being your friend, but like, I don't know that I'm committed to going to temple with you for 3 hours. You know what I mean?
Well, committed to growing together, committed to being flexible and changing as you move through different stages. I mean, as a new mom, I'm sure what you need from your friends now is very different than what you needed from your friends 5 years ago. It's going to change. So I think it's being aware of these changes, being open to them, being flexible, and saying, I'm committed to figuring it out. I'm committed to figuring out what our friendship looks like when you have children or when you're married or when you're busy with work, when you're caring for a sick relative. Like, we're going to figure it out.
It's so interesting that you bring up me being a new mom and how that changes maybe my needs in friendship because, and this is one of the topics that we were going to get into, so we might as well just get into it now. I actually don't think that my needs as a new mom have changed in my friendships. And I would love like any friend listening to opine here, but I still literally just want friends to check in and like be around. You know what I mean? Does that sound unrealistic? I feel like I don't need my friend to come and take care of my child. I don't need my friend to be like, send me 5 pictures of your kid. I need to see him. I just need them to not forget to check in. And I'm doing the same, obviously. But do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I could see different needs of you might need more flexibility. Maybe before you used to do dinners, but now coffee dates and brunches or walks are more appealing to you.
The schedule stuff is fair.
Like the kinds of things you want to be doing in your free time are probably going to change based on your stamina, and your energy, and the schedules you have with your son. Like, you're going to have different just limitations on your time and energy.
It's true. I definitely won't. I'm less likely to spend my weekends with my friends because that's the time with my son.
Yeah.
But I feel like with my friendships in particular, we typically gather at night when the sun goes down. And
like vampires.
Yeah. And with our witch's brew. And that, thanks to my husband, who can hang with my son, still exists in my life. Thank God, you know? So it doesn't feel so changed. I think maybe that would change should I have, you know, if I add another kid into the mix or whatever. But right now it seems kind of manageable. But
Which is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, also your son is at an age, you said he's 14 months. So it's not like he has his own social calendar that you're going to need to accommodate and his own play dates.
Right.
It sounds like you still have more flexibility.
I think you're right.
My sister is one of my best friends and she has 3 kids under 9. And so I see her every week. I see her every weekend. I try to go and see the kids. And it changes a lot when there's multiple kids, multiple schedules.
I bet.
Also, the information that's more compelling to you will change as your kid moves through different life stages. You might really hit it off with other parents at his school because they have more compelling information of like what's going on in your community, in your neighborhood. So all those changes might even be inevitable.
Yep.
So I think it's wonderful that you're able to maintain the friendships that you have, but I wouldn't be surprised just when they get their own children.
Yeah.
Do your friends have their own children too?
The ones, my two best, like my closest friends right now don't, but I have friends who do. But I guess
that's going to flip the monkey cart.
You're right. It will. And then also I'm curious, when 2 friends are friends and one of them has a baby, who do you think it affects more? The one who has the baby or the one who doesn't either yet have a child or is childless by choice?
I'm not sure I'd say who it affects. I feel like what I want to say is who's more likely to feel abandoned. I think it's more likely for the non-parent to feel abandoned. But it also depends on what the friendship was about.
Right.
You know, I spend a lot of time in my book going into detail over how desire works in a friendship. And one of the most interesting things I learned is that each friendship needs an about. And the about needs to be clear and compelling to both people to keep a friendship active. So when one friend has a baby, if your friendship was about emotional support, to the new parent, that may not be as compelling to them to provide endless emotional support for their friend when you have a little baby that needs, you know, that their survival depends on you. So what's happening is that the roles are changing as the priorities are changing. And a lot of times with parents, they operate in survival mode. You know, I don't have to tell you, like you're in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, studies show you're likely to forget that you have people who love you. Because all your energy is going towards being in survival mode.
Yeah.
So the new parent might literally forget that they have friends. And then the friend who's not a parent might be feeling abandoned of, well, why aren't you reaching out? Why can't we get together? Well, can we, you know, and I think there's potential for a lot of hurt feelings and misunderstandings and unrealistic expectations. A lot of friends don't talk about, well, how are we going to practice our friendship once this lifestyle change happens? I mean, it could be getting married, moving away, going back to school, changing jobs. Like, our routine's going to be disrupted. How are we going to negotiate it?
Yeah.
Like, most people do not have the wherewithal to do that with their friends. And then all these changes happen and it's like it's a crisis. Of our friendship has totally changed and I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I was listening to Tinks's pod on friendship recently. And she was talking to a friend and her friend made a really good point about how you usually can go to a friend with a guy problem and your friend can be like, well, here's my advice and this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do. But when you have a child, you're not going to go to your friend to be like, who doesn't have a child, to be like, what do I do about this diaper situation? That friend is no longer relevant to you in the case of advice on a topic that they've never experienced. So you go to a different friend who has what you need, you know? And so without even being conscious of it, you've now put that friend in a pile of not necessary to talk to about a certain, like, subjects are getting fewer and far between that you necessarily are talking about on a day to day. So I found that really interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about what's compelling to you. And in your, studies show there are 5 reasons that people make friends. First is career. They want people who can help with their career. Second is mating. They want to, go out dancing, try and meet people. Third is emotional support. Fourth is what they call desirable qualities. And that basically means someone's really super fun and you share hobbies and passions. And the last one is what they call sociability, which means you just want to be around other people. Like you join a book club or you join a kickball league. You just want to be in the mix. So when you think about why your friendship exists and what the about is, it's usually one of those 5 things. And if the about is emotional support, and then something changes and, a friend's depressed, they don't have the capacity, the friendship is going to suffer. It needs to be renegotiated.
Right.
But if your friendship has more than one thing, if you both work together and you do emotional support and she's super fun and awesome and you both are into, Bravo, well, that's makes sense of why you'd pull her closer than others. And that friendship might have a better chance of subsisting if one of those pillars goes away.
Yeah. You said something also that I remember from listening to you on World's First Podcast that I loved about proximity and friendship. Do you remember what it was?
I was probably in a fugue state because I was so excited to be on the podcast.
I think it was about like a friendship needs 2 things to thrive and it was like proximity. And then there was one more thing, like proximity and like shared interest, like something.
I'm like, tell me.
But the point that I took from it was proximity and how important that is. Well, and it wasn't like, oh, you live in Soho and I live on the Upper West Side proximity. It's like, do we both live in New York?
Yeah. I mean, it disrupts your routine so much. Another most helpful thing I learned a lot of helpful things, is that there's 2 categories of friendship. There's memorial friendship, where it's more infrequent contact, but there's a lot of affection. And then there's active friendships, where you see each other all the time. And your friendship is based on usually those 5 things we talked about. Like, we have those things in common. And so you prioritize them. You make more time to see them. That can explain why you have these friends that live in different cities and you still love them. You'll still reply to their texts. It might take a few days. But those are those transitioned into memorial friendships, where you don't have a steady, consistent practice of friendship, where you see each other more, where you make memories together.
But you're more just like in like memoriam almost.
It's like
because
kind of,
you stay connected to them because of the past. And you don't, it wouldn't be right to just cut that off just because there's not going to be a active future.
I told you I wanted to talk about White Lotus.
Yes. Well, this is the perfect segue.
Perfect memorial friendship are those 3 friends. And that's why they had a lot of those dynamics, is because they're not active friendships where they know each other so well. They know what foods they're avoiding because they're on this medication, like the kinds of stuff when you see your friends all the time. That's a memorial friendship based on the past of their childhood.
Right.
And so a lot of the dynamics were like, well, yeah, they're memorial friends. They don't know each other today. They didn't know how Kate voted. That was new information. Like, and they talked about political ideologies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, today that wouldn't necessarily, because that Kate would probably have posted something on Instagram, like on her story, like, yeah, Trump won. But I guess my question about that is like, what do you think is better? And I feel like you're going to give me like a political answer, but is it the old friendships or is it the new ones? And I don't think that necessarily one is better, but
it's
just
richer. It might be deeper.
Like, yeah, which one is which?
I I hope it gives people a lot of comfort to have word labels for these things, because when the word friends is so ambiguous. When you think of my friends, it's overwhelming because there's all these distinctions. So memorial friends, that's richer history. They might know your family in a way that your active friendships may not. Maybe they know who you dated in high school. They know facts about you, but they may not know you today as well. And your active friendships know your schedule today. They know your spouse. They've met him. Like, it's just a very different um, field that you're playing in. And it used to give me a lot of heartache when I confused the two. And I'd reach out to a memorial friend and say, like, I miss you. We should catch up. And it would take a few days to hear back or a week to hear back. And I'd panic. Like, is the friendship not important? Is our friendship over? Because a friendship being paused feels the same as a dead friendship. Like, you don't know, is this going to be unpaused? But when I learned that memorial friendships have a different priority. It's more of like, when I have time and I can really focus, then I'll write back to you. I'm not going to write back a quick thing like with a friend I'm meeting for lunch in Philly to be like, hey, I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'll see you soon. With a friend you never talked to, haven't seen in 8 months, who lives across the country, you want to like be more centered. You want to focus on it. So it might take longer to reply. So it's just these distinctions. I don't think one's better. I mean, I love my active friendships. My active friendships are about me today. And I learn things from my active friendships all the time. We talked about 3-day hair. My best friend was like, stop washing your hair so much. You should wait a few more days. And that's the kind of, banter, like juicy banter you don't necessarily have with memorial friendships till you get together. Like these women did on White Lotus. And it's like, oh, what are you into? Oh, wow, who are you? I actually don't know you that well. I think of you still as that 10-year-old that I knew. It's just different.
What did you think of how that concluded?
I think I have a hot take that the best friendship on White Lotus was not the 3 women. It was the Russians. They have an active friendship. They have career. They're into
the 3 Russian
the 3
men
Russian
who were
dudes.
like thieves.
Yes, they have career. They're like into criming. That's a word. They're into mating. They're going out and hooking up. They have desirable qualities. They're fun. They're into the same, like into the fighting. They're into the dancing. I mean, they click a lot of these boxes. They have emotional support a little bit, like how he didn't want to get his friends in trouble. So what's his name? Valentin,
yeah.
Like stood up for them and was like, please don't turn in my friends. Like, they have an active friendship. That is exactly.
Well, I think he was more like, please don't turn me in. But
well, yes.
Yeah.
But he had that wasn't saying that it's a healthy friendship. I mean, they're like criminals. But you could tell that there's an active friendship there versus the memorial of the women that really struggled to connect and just appreciate the bond that they have. But it's not going to feel like an active friendship because it's not.
What do you think was the point of linking Parker Posey's character, who I'm forgetting the name of her character, Victoria, and Kate's character for that Bachelorette?
I think it was a chance for Victoria to show her be a little snobby. Where she's like, I don't care. If like a woman coming up to her offering connection.
Right.
And for her reaction to be like so standoffish, I think was more just to further define her character of she's above it.
Yeah, I think she probably like showing that she's better than everyone, but also potentially showing that they're both in the same like class in like Southern world, potentially, because Kate lives in Texas. You know what I mean? Like just they're like that they could have a 3rd degree connection or whatever.
I think Victoria looked down on her as maybe new money. Victoria's based on Patricia from Southern Charm.
Yeah, I heard that, but I'm actually not a Southern Charm girly. So give me like a 5, give me an elevator pitch on Patricia.
She's literally Victoria. She's, educated. She was married. She's a Southern belle. I mean, she has a very specific air about her. She studied art. I mean, it's very different than Kate, who's like, I live in Texas and I don't know. I voted for RFK or whatever
Yeah,
she
and
did.
like I think it was inferred that her husband has some new like tech
Yes,
company that's
right.
doing really well. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I think it was Victoria like feeling kind of putting Kate in her place of we're not on the same level.
Yeah.
Don't step to me.
I love that Mike White admits to being a Bravo fan because it just makes everyone it makes us Bravo fans feel much smarter. I
Very
mean, so
validating.
many people have come out as Bravo fans. Was it Robert De Niro recently? And like everyone that goes and watch What Happens and is like, I'm a Bravo fan, I'm always shook. It's always like someone very intelligent, and I'm like feeling really good about it.
Seth Rogen loves Vanderpump Rules, and I really appreciate.
Someone else recently just came out as a huge fan of The Housewives, Ben Stiller.
Literal jaw dropper. My jaw dropped.
Fully.
Listeners, my jaw dropped.
Fully.
Ben Stiller. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder which franchises.
I think he
Jersey?
was Beverly Hills.
Oh.
I think.
Interesting.
I have to revisit. But enough about Bravo, because I could really talk about that all day. Except we'll actually probably get back to it when we have a brief stint on Summer House. All right. So we had talked about these topics on the phone. Ironically, because this is about talking on the phone. And so I want to go over these ones, and then I'm going to ask you the questions that came in. Friends who like to talk on the phone versus text. Who should compromise? And I don't know if I said this on the phone to you, but my sister likes to talk on the phone and I like to text. And I think you were like, well, who compromised? And I said, I compromise. I call her. Even though I don't like to, but I'm just obviously the bigger person and the better sister. But what is your take on that? Do you think that's right, that I should be the one to compromise?
Can voice notes come into play?
Who has time for voice notes? I can't. I will always ask permission before sending a voice note, because if I'm honest with you, unless it transcribes it on my phone, which sometimes it does now, I just can't listen to your voice note, because I'm like listening to a podcast. Like my ears are busy.
Yeah.
You know?
I extend phone privileges to just a few people. So it'd be like for your sister. I mean, I talk to one of my sisters every morning. So I've just embraced it. I also like how the phone is more spontaneous. I don't like texting, just like endless texting. It's boring to me.
No, we never endless text, my sister and I. We text about a plan.
Okay, that's good.
And we talk on the phone about everything else, which is probably safe, considering, I don't know if you're like me, but we say some things that no one should hear.
Gnarly shit.
Yeah, some things that no one should hear. So probably a safer option all around that I have caved with the phone calls with her. But she's my sister, not my friend. I mean, she's my, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like friendship is different than sisterhood. So with a friend.
Well, friends chosen.
With a chosen friend, exactly. How would you compromise on that one?
I mean, I love talking on the phone. I'm like an elder zennial. Give me that Swatch phone with the curly cord. I love talking on the phone. I'm the one who always volunteers to call people on the phone. Like, oh, I got to make an appointment. Like, hey, and I'm just so excited to talk to someone.
I will say it clears the air sometimes. Like if there is tension, sometimes there's random ass tension that has built with a friend and you cannot explain why. You just like haven't spoken to them in a few days, or like it's that one girl in your friend group that you don't usually get together with one-on-one. So like when you text, it's a rare occurrence or whatever. There's sometimes rare tension unexplained, and to pick up the phone makes it go away, I will say.
I think I've probably pressured people into talking on the phone before, of like, I don't want to keep texting, just call me. Like, tell me how it went. How was the meeting? How'd it go? Like, there's so much information that's lost in a text message. I don't like it unless I'm giving information like 5 minutes away.
Right.
If I have something more substantial to talk about, I always on the phone. It helps that I have AirPods that are comfortable so I can just do other stuff while I talk.
Right.
But I know it's a personal preference. Some people have a lot of anxiety with phone calls because they're so spontaneous. And it's like, I don't want to, I want to know what we're saying.
Yeah. No, I think I've grown to like it a little bit more. I think for the reasons we just discussed, like it makes things like if I want an update on my friend's fertility journey, like it's probably better that we're talking on the phone about it or something, that's a little more serious. So I agree with that. Okay. Friendship breakups.
Yeah.
Big topic. And then someone also asked, should you cut mutual friends too when you have a friendship breakup?
Well, here's the thing about friendship breakups. We are not socialized to have them. We are socialized, mainly as women, to not rock the boat. We're socialized to get along at all costs. And it is very dysregulating to want to break up a friendship. It feels so out of bounds of I don't even have the script for it. Like when we break up a romantic relationship, we can come up with scripts instantly. It's not you, it's me. There's an we want different things. I see different things for us. There are scripts we have, but with friends we don't. We don't have any cultural scripts. We don't have any cultural models of seeing friendships break up. It's becoming more and more common because our lives are becoming more and more fluid. So if you grew up in a shtetl in the 1800s and there were only a few dozen, you didn't have as much choice and you didn't have all the options available. Now it's you could befriend anyone at any time, but that also makes friendships more fragile because you can leave them at any time. All this to say, it's culturally new to break up friendships. It's deeply uncomfortable, and there could be a lot of pressure to keep friendships going because you share a social group and the cost is really high.
Right.
So not only are we not socialized to have the conversation of, I don't think this friendship's working. I wish you all the best, but there's a risk to it. So, but it is a real thing. There are people you have to distance yourself from. Sometimes it's with love, you distance yourself from the friendship with love. Sometimes there's a betrayal, a catastrophe, a catastrophic betrayal, if you will, of this friendship is untenable and we're done.
What's an example of, in your mind, a good reason to end a friendship?
Oh, you've just outgrown each other and your abouts aren't clear or compelling. That's why when an old friend reaches out and says, oh, we should get lunch, and you find yourself ignoring the message, it's well, it's not clear. Okay, she wants lunch, but why? And it's not compelling of well, I don't really want to get lunch. I'm busy. I have other stuff going on. Those are things you think unconsciously because your behavior is you ignore the message. You're oh yeah, sounds great. And you never take the initiative. And that's because it wasn't clear or compelling. But to that same token, when you know that about invitations, you can give more information up front of Lindsay, I'd love to meet you for lunch. I want to hear about how Zachary is. I want to hear about how your podcast is. I'd love to see you. I got you a birthday present and I want to hand it to you. Well, that's more clear of what I'm looking for. And that might be more compelling of, oh, you have a present for me? Oh gosh, I'd love to see you. Let's make it happen. So that's the kind of world we live in where we need to be more conscientious about how our invitations land in other people's inboxes. And this is a tangent from your question of when to know to pull away. But this is getting more at the mechanics of, well, why do you feel yourself pulling away? What's the about? Is it clear and is it compelling? You can negotiate. You can say, Lindsay, I haven't seen you in so long. I want to spend more time with you. What's important? What's important to you nowadays? What do you want to do? Well, that could be more compelling to you. Well, actually, I'd love to go see this movie. You want to go? Then you can find a compelling reason.
Yeah, that's
all this to say, those are for the more mushy friendships that are I don't know, are we in or out? A hokey pokey thing. But if a friend makes you feel, it's sort of cliche, not safe, or my My friend Adam Dorsey, I was just on his podcast, Super Psyched, and he was telling me about the drive-away test. And he explained that when you leave a friend and you drive away, how does your body feel?
Mm,
And I thought that was such an elegant way to assess, like, how do I feel after I leave this person's presence?
right.
So that's a long answer to get to the drive-away test of what is my body telling me about how my time was just spent.
I like that a lot. I feel like it's interesting because I have some friends where like I'm just so relaxed after seeing them, I'm in a good mood.
Yeah.
And then I have some friends that I know I relaxed them,
Yeah.
but I am as a result tense. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that
Yeah.
makes me sad because I'm like, I want to keep relaxing them. But like
Well, you
I
feel
would also
needed.
like to relax.
It feels good to feel needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think a lot of women like weigh on them is it feels good to feel needed. Studies show in midlife, women want more interdependence with their friends. They want to nurture their friendships with the people they love. So it makes sense that you might feel a pull of like, well, I want to see her, I want to help her, I want to listen. But then you might feel depleted after of like, well, I literally was just like a therapy cushion or something. It's a weird balance.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to validate people who feel that. Like it feels
Yeah.
good to be needed, but it also can feel depleting.
And friends that you don't see eye to eye with. Like, for example, I had a friend, it seems dramatic to call it a friendship breakup, but I had a friendship change roles in my life. Is that a okay way to say it?
Yeah.
Kind of. That kind of started out as a going out friendship, a mating friendship, if you
Yeah.
will. And then once like I settled down with my husband and they were still kind of like in the mating experience, and then they did some things that were like a little outlandish to me.
Mhm.
Not to me. Like I found the things that they did outlandish.
Yeah.
And ultimately, and then we had a disagreement.
Okay.
And that disagreement I thought was not handled well on the other end. I probably didn't handle it well either because,
How old were you? Or were you both?
this wasn't that long ago. I was like 31, maybe 32, 2 years ago. And I decided to take a step back from that friendship after that disagreement. And then they reached out, and like they did too, but it was like mutual kind of. And then they reached out on my birthday trying to kind of salvage the friendship.
The
Olive branch. And they wanted to kind of rehash the disagreement, but in like with new perspective. But I still was not seeing eye to eye. Like I still stood by kind of what I said and felt the same way about it. So I was basically like, I still feel this way, but like, I love you. I just, I'm okay with where things are right now, essentially, which was really hard for me to say as a recovering people pleaser.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And now we are not day-to-day friends, but we'll send like a congratulations or like laugh at each other's Instagram stories every now and then. And like, I'm okay with that. And I think I really am just sharing this story because I had the drive away thing where I just felt icky after I hung out with this person. I felt they brought drama in to my otherwise not so dramatic life. And I think it's okay to kind of redefine a friendship. And it's better that you do it before you have kids, or you know what I mean?
One of the first things I learned writing my book is that friendships can end at any time for any reason. It's like so fragile. No one's doing anything wrong. And one thing that was very helpful was I looked at Robin Dunbar's research. He's a British anthropologist. He wrote a book called Friends, and he looked at how monkeys organize their social lives, and extrapolated how humans, also organize our social lives. And in the book, I rebranded these tiers into watery names to highlight how fluid these tiers are. The most intimate tier I call the bathtub. And for men, it's usually one person in their bathtub. It's usually their significant other. For women, it's usually two people, their significant other and their best friend.
Yeah.
And then the next tier I call the jacuzzi. It's 3 to 5 of your best friends. And they all play different roles for you. And if you had won an award, you would thank them. The tier below that I call the swimming pool. That's 10 to 15 people. And those are people you might double date with. They know some things about your life, but not every intimate detail. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're your favorite coworkers or family members. The tier after that I call the beach bonfire of 50 people. And then the tier after that is what Dunbar calls the weddings and funerals group of 150 people. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much everyone in your social life. So what's happening is your friend might have gone from a jacuzzi, real close friend, drive-away test. You're like, well, actually, I think I might kick her down to the swimming pool. But now I might be hovering at the beach bonfire, 50 people. If you had a milestone birthday party, maybe you'd invite her. So these tiers are so fluid. Falling in love will cost you 2 spots in your jacuzzi as your time and availability priorities change. These are always changing, these tiers. I encourage my readers to come back in 6 months or a year and map out who's in these tiers for you, because it's going to change. So everything that you said is so inevitable, so normal. This is how friendships are designed now. They're gonna hop just like at a pool party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that analogy so much. I'm gonna think about that all the time and share it with my husband. I also want to say, because we were talking about the memorial friends and the active friends, I think that people can hop. I think that people can ebb and flow. I think I'm lucky in that my memorial friends live in New York as well as my active friends. And for the most part, not all of them.
Yeah.
And I can take some friends out of memorial and bring them into active because we have a kid at the same time or this and that. And I think that that's really nice. And I think my ideal friendship situation is that I have my 2 best friends. I have, a friend or 2 that I'm very close with from memorial, but also can be active with. Mm-hmm. Because I think those friends, and my mother-in-law says this all the time, those friends, let's say, God forbid, you lost your dad when you were young. Mm-hmm. That friend knows your dad. They knew your dad. You know what I mean? Your active friend never met your dad. It's there's such an important memory with that friend.
Yeah. It's so interesting you say that. After I lost my dad, I talk about it in the introduction of the book that I lost my dad to COVID, and I wanted to connect with people who knew him. I called friends from high school just because they'd met him and knew him. And that was just, it was priceless to me. They knew him, and it was irreplaceable.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
And that's such a good point. And it's even if it wasn't a parent, it was just they knew you.
Yeah.
And you were a different person then.
Yeah.
They knew your high school boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Yeah. I want to make clear that I am not necessarily a proponent for ending friendships.
No.
I like to rehome them.
Yes, that's a great attitude. It's a great strategy. And my hope is that by learning these mechanics, putting language to it, you can better understand what's happening, what you're seeing of, oh, this is my memorial friend. She's been on a walkabout for a few years, but now we actually have something really clear and compelling in common. Mm-hmm. She could actually bump up these tiers.
Right.
And that happens all the time, especially after 30. Our friendships fall off a cliff after 30. So this is this is when things start reorganizing. There's a lot of transition. Most people don't see it coming, and it can be very disorienting, but you're right on track. Like this is modern friendship in a nutshell.
Why do our friendships fall off a cliff after 30?
Well, most people would listen. We go back to those 5 things. If in your 20s it was mating, you're picking people to hang out with who were great, had new great parties, new great clubs. But then after 30, people tend to focus more on their careers. So maybe you're focusing more on friends that could help you with your, with your job prospects. Emotional support is really important in your 30s, and some people may not have those skills. And then you're like, well, I'd rather be with a friend who's like better at navigating these things. Our problems become more complex in our 30s. Think of your problems in college. It's like, I don't have enough money to buy pizza. I mean, whatever. But in your 30s, it's like fertility issues, relationship issues. You become more discerning of who is actually capable of giving me relevant advice in the things that are important to me. So the person you partied with in your 20s may not be great at financial advice or job advice. And that's why you see this great shuffle.
Yeah. You brought up fertility, and actually one of these questions was about fertility. The question was how different fertility journeys impact friendship. And this is very interesting to me as someone who struggles with infertility, which I hate that word, but it is what it is. I have friends who literally coughed and got pregnant, and I don't love them any less. And I understand that it's not their fault that they had a better time than me. And again, I'm very therapized, so maybe that's why. But I also understand that just because they had an easy time getting pregnant doesn't mean they won't have a tough postpartum, doesn't mean that they won't have a tough other journey of some sort. No one gets out of a life unscathed. So it's like to cast aside a friend because we had a pregnancy pact to get pregnant at the same time, but their baby is now 2 and I'm still trying. I don't know how fair that is, but you tell me your thoughts on this.
Well, listen, it's really hard. It's very hard when you see friends getting something that you want. I mean, it's you might need to pause the friendship, not out of like malice or ill will. It's very, it can be very triggering to see your friends get something that you want. And I think it's fair to say to your friend, this is a me issue. Like I have wounds that I need to tend to, and it doesn't mean I don't love you any less, but I'll let you know, like, please keep your door open for me. I just need a little time to wrap my head around things.
Yeah.
I wrote an article for the New York Times about what to say to someone struggling with infertility because I didn't understand it. I was coming to terms with being child-free, but I prefer non-parent because child-free and childless are more about like what's going on. It's like, I'm a parent or not. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Doesn't point to any decision or anything. It's like, I'm not a parent. But my sister was going through IVF and I was having a very hard time understanding what she was feeling. So as my way to make it up to her, I wrote an article about it so I could understand better. And what I learned is like your friends are grieving. And what you're seeing is what you're seeing with a friend who's struggling with infertility is a lot of their grieving the future they thought they had, grieving their body failing them, grieving milestones they were hoping to hit. So I think that can help with some of the sensitivity when you see, with these issues of, well, one friend is grieving and the other is, preparing for this new stage. And I think that the more compassion you have for each other and the more open you are and you say like, hey, like, let's check, like, I want to check in with you. Like, I understand you're having a hard time. Like, what are you thinking about our friendship? Do you want to put it on pause? Do you want to come back in a little bit? Like, I'm hoping people can model for one another of this is how we handle when we have these things happen, because
Mm-hmm.
they can happen with anything. I mean, I'm an author. Authors are so competitive. Who got a book deal? Like it's literally endless of when friends could, um, find ways to think to internalize
Mm-hmm.
a friend's success. Of, well, what about me? Like, it's really hard. And also,
Yeah.
we live in a society where it's so public. You can
Mm-hmm.
see someone's Instagram, you can see their journey, you can see
Right.
all these things that you may not necessarily have had to confront before.
Yeah. And I think going back to what I said before, like I was saying, I understand that it's not their fault that they got pregnant, but maybe it's actually harder for them with my friendship at that point because
Yeah,
they feel like they can't come to me with like, oh, I just had this checkup
I
or,
know.
oh, I'm so excited to have this baby because not that I like feel bad for them in this situation. I feel worse for me, obviously, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
maybe it's harder for them to feel like they could share this happy news with me because I you know what I'm saying?
One of the absolute best gifts we can give each other as friends is reducing uncertainty. And that's because uncertainty creates anxiety.
And we do that by picking up the
And we do
phone.
that by picking up the phone, but we also do it by saying, hey, I notice that there's this issue. Like, how can I be a friend to you right now? What do you
Mhm.
need? How can I support you? And just by giving it language, like opening the conversation, that's love. That is friendship.
Mhm.
Um, and once I've started writing about reporting on friendship, it's radically changed the way that I interact with my friends, and I realize the power we have. You know, during COVID, one of my best friends had two small children. So I couldn't see her for a long time because, vaccines took forever. By the time we finally got together, it had been over a year since I'd seen her. The first thing I said to her before the waiter even came to us and gave us our menus, I said, I know you think about me all the time and that you wish that we could spend more time together. And I just want you to know I think about you all the time too. And it's okay. It's okay if we can't hang out as much as we'd like. Like, I know right now you're a new mom. I'm not going anywhere. Like, I understand being a parent is the priority, and I'll always be your friend and I'll always be here for you.
That's really sweet.
And for the past 2 years, we've had a slumber party for our birthdays. She's come over,
So cute.
and I said, like, what do you want for your birthday? She goes, all I want is a slumber party with you. And we've done it 2 years in a row.
That's really cute.
And if I hadn't given voice and reassured her and reduced anxiety
Mhm.
of, I know she's an anxious person. She's probably thinking, oh, Anna thinks I'm a horrible friend. Anna's probably thinking, why haven't I reached out more? I'm like, listen, I'm always thinking of you. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I watched her shoulders soften,
Mhm.
and it's just so, I hope people hear this and realize how much power we have here. I gave my friend permission to pull back.
Mhm.
And I said, here's how I'll interpret you pulling back. I won't take it personally.
Right.
And we just talked yesterday on the phone. Like, it's amazing how resilient these friendships can be when you take these vulnerable risks
Right.
and just reassure one another.
It's so true. It's so true. In your research for your article, did you discover if there is a best way to tell a friend struggling with fertility that you are pregnant?
Oh my God. This is out of my depth because I don't have children, and this hasn't been an issue I've personally experienced. So I don't want to, I think all my research shows, like, just to be compassionate and ask your friend, when I get pregnant, how would you like me to tell you?
Mhm.
If it happens,
Yeah.
what's the plan?
That's a good idea to get ahead of
To get
it.
ahead of it.
Mhm. I like that. Okay, going back to your bathtub jacuzzi
Good job.
analogy. Someone wanted you to speak about weddings and choosing bridesmaids and bachelorette trips and all of that
Yeah.
good
Oy
stuff.
vey.
Any advice?
I think a lot of it is the age you're at.
Did you have bridesmaids?
No, I got married at 35 though. Like, if I'd gotten married younger, I absolutely would have. And it would have been dramatic. And I wouldn't have had any idea of what I was doing. Probably would have had hurt feelings left and right. I would have misinterpreted my friends' decisions up and down, sideways to sideways. Like for my wedding, I didn't have any bridesmaids. I had 10 people at my wedding.
That's nice.
And I wrote an article about it, about micro weddings. That's what I do in my life. I'm like, let's write an article about it. It's very sensitive territory, I imagine. If you have a larger network with a lot of women that might be expecting to be asked to be a bridesmaid, or they're not sure what it means to not be asked to be a bridesmaid, I think it's on the bride to, what's that word? What's that phrase? Reduce uncertainty.
Yeah.
Here's what it means.
But if you have to have bridesmaids,
if you have to have,
are we doing the pool or the jacuzzi?
Well, I'm trying to think. I would definitely, like, it depends. I mean, I'm trying to think if it's like you have 8 groomsmen and you need to pick 8 friends.
Right.
There's so many factors here.
Well, that's what makes it so nuanced, and why I always tell people who reach out to me and they say, my friend didn't make me a bridesmaid. I really thought we were closer. Painful. What should I do? And I always defend the bride and I say, it doesn't mean anything about your friendship. Hold on tight, blah, blah, blah. Because I really actually don't think it does.
I think it might behoove the bride, if it's sensitive, to explain to someone, I cannot wait to party with you at my wedding. Let me explain the decisions I'm making. Here's what you're seeing. It doesn't mean I love you any less. Here's actually like what I would love for you for my wedding, how you can help me celebrate. And then it's positive of, one of my best friends had me read a poem at her wedding. I wasn't a bridesmaid. I don't think she had bridesmaids. She was the only child. But she gave me a special role. Like, there are other things you can assign your friends. I don't think in my 20s I had that maturity to know that about myself. It was very much like a ranking kind of mindset of who's my top girls. Like, and I would encourage people to spend a little time, hopefully with my book, to help understand why people are in your life and why they would be a good fit for this thing. I had 4 girlfriends at my wedding. I don't talk to 2 of them anymore. Like, weddings are whatever. Like, there's a lot of pressure on it, and it doesn't necessarily translate to, anything lasting, which surprised me.
Yeah, you're right.
It happens a lot. Like, people don't talk to their bridesmaids after. It's sort of a last hurrah, although you don't think it is at the time. You're like, my caveat for brides is, I know it's your day, but you're also asking people to spend money, spend time, spend interest, caring about it, and to be as sensitive as possible, and to be as open to what people feel comfortable with as possible. Some people may not like crowds. Some people may not feel comfortable in the dress or wearing shoes. And to make it as to provide a permission structure of, I'd love for you to be a bridesmaid. Here is the expectations. No worries if you're not up for it or if it's out of your budget. Like, what's most important to me is that you're there for the day. Like, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to alienate these people for such a special day.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, as someone who did have bridesmaids, some advice that I, like, in hindsight, I would say, don't make anyone, I would say, if you're on the fence about people, make them bridesmaids. Because you might,
the buffers.
Yeah, because you might regret it. I would say give your friend who just had a baby like a very hard, clear out if they want one. You know? I would say don't make someone a bridesmaid because they made you a bridesmaid. And that's the sole reason.
Yeah.
And I guess my last thing would be like, don't make an old friend a bridesmaid just because they're an old friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like the advice that I was given when choosing my bridesmaids was choose the people you want their energy with, like, in the room with you on your wedding day.
That's good advice.
which
Yes.
is like good advice, but also dangerous advice because you're like, oh, that like random fun like gay bestie that like isn't, which it's funny. I had one of my gay besties, but he is truly like, I'm so happy he was one of my bridesmaids. But you know what I'm saying? Like you might end up choosing someone that you're not even close to because you like their energy, but you know the gist. You know the gist. Okay, you mentioned being a non-parent.
Yeah.
Is that a like continued choice, or that's just a current moment for you?
Oh, it's done and dusted. Which
So,
I'm happy with.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Have you experienced friendships being affected by this choice that you made? And if so, have you ever kind of like found out why? You know what I mean?
That's an interesting question. I don't listen. I'm a pinball. I lived in 4 different cities. I live in Philadelphia now, where I didn't grow up and I didn't go to college. So my friendships are so different than if I'd stayed in my hometown and had these long-standing friendships, and we had to renegotiate them once kids came on the picture or came into the scene. I am friends with people who don't have children, and partly it's because we like doing things like going out for dinner, and we're creative, so we meet up during the day and write. Like, I've crafted a life around my lifestyle, so it hasn't come up. A lot of my memorial friends do have children, but they don't live near me. So it's just, it hasn't really been an issue.
And what about new friends that you'd make, let's say? Let's say you made a new friend through writing and she had a child. Do you think that would, like, have you experienced judgment because of your choice?
No. I don't think, no. No. But I also live in Philly, where like nobody cares. Like literally nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, just like about anything.
No, it's like no one asks what you do, where you work.
Right.
Like no one's paying attention in Philly.
No, I was just there. It was so fun.
Very different vibe.
Okay, here's some questions that came about. What about the friend that secretly hates you? How can you tell?
Oh my gosh, secretly hates you. How can you tell? Oh my God. I haven't done any research on that. My research is how to keep friendships.
I need you to write your next article on the friend that secretly hates you. I feel like there's so much to that.
I can't imagine it would be a jacuzzi friend.
No, the friend that secretly hates you is like, you look so tan. Or like, you look, or, it's kind of like how the girls were in the beginning with White Lotus. It's like, they're like, what work are you doing? Like, what? Like, you look so good. You were just birthed. You look so young, It's like a compliment, but it's not. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think I've aged. I've definitely distanced myself from people like that. And the friends I have, I know exactly why we're friends, because we play roles for each other. Like, I've done all the work. So I think I've weeded out people like that. I mean, definitely in my 20s, you have people that were, oh my God, I love you. And then you find out they're like talking all this trash about you. But there was an undercurrent of competitiveness in those friendships. And that's a red flag of I don't want to be competitive with my friends. That's not the energy I want. That's not why we're here. That's not why we left our homes to eat this grain bowl. Like, it's just not something. It's something I've weeded out. But it does happen. I mean, we live in a competitive culture. We live in a culture where men especially are very competitive with each other. I think men do it more than women sometimes. Like, oh, what's your car? What are you driving? Like, men do it all the time.
Yeah.
I would encourage people not to do that and to really try to be authentic with people you call friends.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think sometimes the friend that secretly hates you could be like your friend's wife, let's say. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, certainly not a jacuzzi.
Right.
but more of a funeral where like you have to see them, but you wouldn't have chosen them in your life potentially. You know what I mean?
I'm really racking my brain. I'm
Like
like,
maybe like a double date friend where like you leave the date and you're like, oh my God, she drinks so much. Like I cannot go out with her again. You know, like
oh yeah. Okay,
you
wait.
know
No,
what I'm
I'm
talking
thinking
about.
of someone. I do have
Mhm.
someone where
You're
you
like, do I
know,
have to put on the show tonight?
it made me feel like such a brat, like an immature brat of just, like get it together, like splashing water on my face, like get it
Mhm.
together. And I try to like connect over something. Like
Right.
a great question is, what have you been obsessed with lately? Sometimes with people I don't know, and hopefully they say bravo, and then we're off to the
Yeah.
races.
Yeah.
But when you ask someone what they're obsessed with, that could take you some interesting directions, and you might find commonalities that you may not have noticed or
Oh,
known
so
about.
the friend that secretly hates you is Danielle to Lindsay on Summer House.
You have talked about this
That
dynamic
yes,
before.
that is the friend that secretly hates you.
Yes, Danielle.
The friend who always questions your choices, who's always
yes.
judging you, who says, "Are you sure that's a good
Yes.
idea?"
Yes,
That friend
yes.
secretly hates you.
Well, Danielle I think she thinks it's her being protective of Lindsay. Like, I care about you so much that I'm criticizing all your choices because I care. And criticizing is a habit that Dr. William Glasser calls a habit of disconnection. Criticizing, judging, nagging, those things push your friends from you. So Danielle does a lot of those things of like, oh, your honeymoon, like, wait, the proposal, like that. She's always criticizing and don't do that, people.
Yeah.
Do not
Don't
criticize, nag,
Save
judge
it for your
friends.
therapist.
Yes.
This person asked, as a single friend, how to get your couple friends to involve you without sounding pathetic.
Oh, involve you. Like, why would you want to hang out with a bunch of couples if you're single?
I don't know, but this person does.
Let me think. It comes down to the clear and compelling of what do we do together? What is interesting to all of us? Is it trying new restaurants, or is it a taco club, Taco Tuesdays, we all get together? Is it a movie club? It's to find that activity that everybody wants to do equally and then ritualizing it. Like, why don't we do a movie club every month? Or that would be my strategy. If it were me, I'd propose something. What does everyone want to do? What would be fun for everyone? And seeing what sticks. It might take a few times to see what sticks.
Yeah, that's a good idea. How would you suggest people make new friends in their 30s?
I get asked this question all the time, and I love that people are thinking about this. I have a few comments on it. First, it depends on your personality. Researchers call this trait agreeableness, and it means, are you trusting of people? Do you think people are generally good? Big Bird was agreeable. Oscar the Grouch was not. So what is your personality? If you're agreeable, if you're open to new people, you're much more likely to have success in your friend-making efforts. If you are more hold your cards close to your chest, you aren't as comfortable being vulnerable with new people, you're going to have a tougher time. The most important thing with making new friends is thinking about, why would someone want to be your friend? I don't think people think about that at all. I think they think, well, I want new friends. I want more social. I want people to go out with. I want. Why would someone else want to leave their cozy house with their pets to come see you? What are you bringing to the table? And that goes back to the 5
That's with
reasons.
relationships too.
Yes. Well, what are you bringing? Like, can you help with someone's career? Can you help with emotional support? Do you know how to do it? Are you fun to be around? Are you positive? Are you a positive person? Those are reasons people want to make friends. So how do you offer that with someone? I recently became friends with this incredible woman in my neighborhood. She also works in media in Philly, which is kind of rare. Like, there aren't that many of us. So I reached out to her and I said, hey, I also live in Philly and I also work in the media, and I'd love to get to know you better. I want to hear about your job and what you think about living in Philly. I try to offer compelling reasons. We got together. and she's great. And she told me that most of her friends had moved away in the past year, and she was really feeling it. And I said, oh, I can help. I think you'd really like my other friends. Why don't we all get together? They also work in media in Philly. And we started a group. We all were on the text chat today. The group chat was popping. And I solved something for this woman of I'd like more friends. I'm like, I think you'd really hit it off with these people.
Yeah.
And now I've shown her how I practice friendship. We have media in common. We have career in common. We have fun in common, desirable qualities, hobbies and passions. Like now we have the ingredients to cook a friendship. Best friendships take 200 hours, according to Jeffrey Hall. He's a professor in Kansas University who studies this. It takes 200 hours to go from stranger to best friend. So if you're thinking about making new friends, think, what would I want to do for 200 hours with someone? It's not, people miscalculate. They think someone wants to hang out with them, like choose them, but it's really what you do together. It's you standing next to your friend, looking at the world together. That's what makes friendships so fun. So that's what would be my advice of what would we do together for 200 hours? Like, it's not enough to be like, oh, let's get lunch. Oh, okay. And then it kind of falls off. It's like, well, what do you want to talk about? What's important to you?
Right.
Oh, media? Like, I could talk about that all day. I could spend 200 hours talking about that. So that's where I would start is what do I want to do and who can I find to do it with me? You know, one of my favorite texts to learn about friendship and study friendship is Hollywood Walk of Fame speeches. I don't think I told you this.
No.
Hollywood Walk of Fame speeches are wonderful templates for how friendships form. And one of my favorite ones is Matthew McConaughey's speech at Guy Fieri's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony. And Matthew McConaughey recounts how their friendship started because Matthew McConaughey was in an Airstream driving across the country, watching his favorite show, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'm going to be in Spokane next week. Where should I eat? So he called up Guy Fieri and said, hey, where should I eat? And Guy Fieri is like, oh, go to these places. So they started a friendship about where to eat on the road. And then when Guy Fieri moved to LA, Matthew McConaughey moved to LA, they got together and they connected on deeper values of family, dealing with fame, religion. And then their friendship deepened into something more, something more beautiful. That is how friendships go. You have to have that about first before you can deepen the friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. I love that. I feel like that's the perfect question to go out on, honestly. I feel you really never know when you're going to meet a friend. And it's not always because you're trying to meet a friend also. You could be working together in some capacity. You could have your kids in the same class. You just never know what it's going to be. So I would say just like be open to it, but also don't put so much pressure on it.
My philosophy is I'm here to help. And when I make new friends, I'm like, what are you struggling with? How can I help? And people tend to keep those around that care about what they care about. So when my new friend told me I'd like to make more friends, I'm like, well, I care about that for you. Like, I want to help. That's my message is.
Right. It's be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I just recently had a situation where someone wanted to come on the podcast and I didn't feel that it was a fit for the podcast. And she said, to be honest, I actually just want to be your friend. And it was so sweet. She was like, I don't have a lot of friends right now. Like, if you want to go on a walk, let me know. And I am so down with that. I'm so into the being honest and direct. And I was like, yeah, I would love that, And it was like a load off my shoulders because I was like, I don't have to, figure out a way to get this person on the podcast when I don't think it's right. But she wants to be my friend. Like, that's cool. It makes me feel good. So don't be afraid to tell someone that you want to be their friend. You never know.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to say, I want to be your friend. What's important to you? How can I help? And that will increase the the chances of the friendship taking hold because you have an about that's compelling to the other person. So they're more likely to make it happen.
I love it.
I
Thank you.
didn't mean to get yelly. I actually
No, I
I
love
have a
it.
surprise for you. I brought a present for you.
What is this? Oh my
I'm
God. Should I
surprising you with
open
the
it
present.
on air?
Yeah.
Okay.
I brought you some treats
love
from
that.
Philly.
Wow.
I don't know if Zachary can eat
Stop.
food yet.
Oh my God. You are so sweet. Okay, well, now we have to be friends. Chocolate covered pretzels and chocolate covered biscotti.
Let me tell you, these are from the Italian market in Philly, and this biscotti, you're gonna be like, how amazing can biscotti
No, I'm
be?
so excited. My
They're
grandma-in-law
excellent.
makes biscotti.
They're excellent.
You are so sweet. Thank you. I mean,
Thank
this
you
is
for having
an
me
example,
on.
guys. People watching on YouTube. This is friendship. When you know, this is how you start a friendship.
This
right
is how
here.
you start a friendship,
With
right
a
here.
gift. No, but truthfully, it was so lovely to have you on. Where can everyone find you and read your book?
Oh, Modern Friendship is available anywhere. You can find me at Anna Goldfarb on Instagram. And I have a Substack, Friendship Explained,
Love it.
where I love talking about friendship through a pop culture lens. And just come find me. We have a lot of fun. I'm not boring. That's literally my mantra with my book is don't be boring. So I really think you guys would enjoy it. Oh, I also have a free excerpt of my book on my website, annagoldfarb.com. No email sign up required. Just literally check it out. And if it's up your alley, like, I'd love to have you come along.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.